Hey guys, this is take two of my tour of the cave. Yeah, I done all that, and for some reason it cut out, so I'm starting all over again. Excuse the fact you can't see my face, because I'm actually, as you can see, I'm using my mobile for this little tour. So where we're going to start is my TV. Basically, this is my Samsung Smart TV, which I've had for about 5 years. Brilliant products. Goes along with the phone that I'm actually currently filming from, and I swear they are the best in the market. As you can see, I catch up with you guys videos as much as I can. I hate to think how many subscriptions I got, but there you go. And this, I think, is about a 29-inch TV. And as I say, you can stream YouTube and everything on it, so it does everything but make the tea. And then below here, or to the side, I've got my Xbox 360, because I'm a bit of a gamer. Waited ages and ages and ages to get 360 until I was in a position to do so, and I got one second hand, and now I've got one, I hardly ever blooming use it. Oh dear, I've only recently had a little game on one of them anyway, so hey ho. It's just I don't get the time. But there you go, what with my work schedule and life, etc. And then below here, I've got all my Xbox 360 games. As you can see, a lot of them are World War II shooters. Some I've not even played yet. I'm currently working on this one, Saboteur, which is set as you an Irishman in Paris working for the Resistance. So there you go. Standard DVD player, which I got from Tesco some years ago, and it's still going strong. I got that for about, what, 15 quid? And in this white box is my spray booth, portable spray booth. It's had about 3 filters, and it's due for its 4th. So there you go. And then in this box I've got more Xbox 360 games. Sorry, it's not focusing for some reason, but there you go. Right, going on to the cabinet, and above that I've got, oh, let's have a look, my Secret Santa gift, which my colleague Emma reminded me yesterday about. And yeah, sorry about that, Emma. Everything been going on, but she's a good little alarm clock. Give her that, bless her. Yeah, it's a little sort of mechanics laboratory where you can make a catamaran which floats. So yeah, and it's sponsored by the Smart Science Museum, so that is awesome. So whoever you were, Secret Santa, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. That was from work. And then just below that, I've got my first 2 bike kits, which I'm going to build at some stage, which is the Tamiya Honda CB750F, which my friend Michelle did have. I don't know if she's still got it, because she's a bit of a biker. Up in Buckingham, so there you go. And then below that I've got the Virago XV1000. So yeah, below that is a recently acquired Italeri M4A1 Sherman. And finally I've got my Christmas present, which I got from my brother Neil, which is the old rifled Tiger one, with full interior, which is supposed to depict one of Michael Whitman's tanks. There you go. And then in here is my past builds, which I put in my cabinet. Okay. And this one, if you remember, was the Thomas Amstelgruber. Oh, crying out loud, will you focus? Build I did a few years ago. It's a Dragon kit, mid-production. Lovely kit. And then just below that is my first sub, which was the Revell 1350 of Type 7C, which I modelled as a U-96 from the original film Das Boot. And then above that is just the old World War I die I did some years ago, and the Bastogne dio, which is one of my favourites. And then next to that I've got my Michael Wittmann Cursed Tiger and dio. Along with the Tamiya machine gun crew set. Why is this thing not focusing? I don't know. Hang on, maybe I need to reset it. There we go. Yeah, I love this build, and it's one of my favourites. And this picture here is my late father, Colin Avery. This was taken at my 30th at my late Uncle Pete's over at New Morton. Was it New Morton or was it? No, it was Rains Park, at their old house. Yeah, he was a prolific modeller, mainly aircraft, but he did do the occasional ship. In fact, he did a lovely one of the Cutty Saab, because he used to work for Unwin's off license. I don't know if you remember him, guys. And they had a Cutty Saab promotion up, and they actually built the old Revell 1196 Cutty Saab. What a beautiful job it was too. And it was a big glass cabinet, and it's sitting at a friend of mine's, Lorraine's Simmons. Was it Lorraine Simmons? I can't remember. I think it's Simmons. Yeah, I think it is. Over in Chobham, or it was. I don't know if she's still there, because unfortunately we both lost contact with each other. Bless her. If you're watching, Lorraine, hey, it's me, Stu. So yeah, that was the last place I saw it, and that was some years ago. Anyway, down below is one of the two builds I got done last year, which was the 6-pounder anti-tank gun from Tamiya, and I did this based off a photograph I saw online. As you can see, it's typical gun crew, basically trying to repel a German tank or column, and trying to move forward during a Normandy campaign out one of the back roads. This was my Leopard 1A4, if you remember, my second completed build last year. Beautiful kit, very cheap, and still holds well, even though it's over 40 years old. I do love Tamiya kits. They just go together like knife and butter. So there you go. And then this is my current vignette finished to go with my Panzer II North African version. So there you go. Below that, I've got what I am, a prolific Doctor Who fan, and as you can see here, I've virtually got every classic episode here, and I do collect some of the odd Big Finish audios as well. They sort of fill in a gap, as it were. I got one of the old TS tin spray cans, Dayglow, for what was going to be my MP44 for a group build about a subject that you normally don't do. Never got around to finishing it, unfortunately. Donated the kit to my brother, but I keep reminding him to pick them up and he keeps forgetting. But there you go. So Neil, when you next come round, don't forget to pick these up, mate. So there you go. That's part one of my Doctor Who collection, by the way. Down beneath is some of my stash. Let's have a look through that. We've got the Special Hobby Heinkel HE 178. That was the very first jet aircraft that flew. Going to be interesting to do that colour scheme with all the various metal tones on it. I'm not sure if this is still in production, because a lot of Special Hobbies kits are limited production, so it's probably very hard to get hold of now. And then just above that is the Revell Typhoon class sub, which is going to be on the next project. And then I've got a little Senna go-kart from Fujimi. And then obviously I've got the Airfix Phantom FG1, which is the version based on the old Art Royal, followed by its stablemate, the Buccaneer, which was just released this past year. New tool, and apparently I just had a look at the range of Airfix kits that are coming out this year, and they're going to do an RAF version at the latter part of this year, so that'll be good. And then below that I've got the old trusty Tamiya half-track Hanamag SDKFZ 2511, some master box figures which are for a FAMO of any brand, and then the old venerable Airfix Boeing 747-100 BOAC. Now I've got some aftermarket decals for that as well. Below that I've got Tamiya's M10 tank destroyer, which I won on the very first Live at the Bench show, so there you go. And the old tool B3 Lancaster bomber. I'm going to get some aftermarket for the interior on that one. And just below my cutting mat, no, I'm not going to be able to lift it, is another much hunted after kit of Airfixes, which I hope they will re-release one year. Is the BAC TSR2 in 1/48. I'm not kidding you, that's going to be a big beast. And I've actually got some I'm gradually getting aftermarket stuff in to just super detail it too. Type 7C Revell sub, another one with loads of spares in it. And then just here is a Russian tank crew 135th 79 to 88 by a company called Langer. Never heard of them, but there you go. Just above that is a present I got from my brother 1 year as a birthday present, which is the BF9 109 F4 by Hobby Boss. And then below that I've got the Williams FW16, which, as everybody knows, was Ayrton Senna's last car. And this is depicting the actual car he unfortunately lost his life in, which was the Imola Grand Prix. That tragic weekend. And I've got a matching figure to go with it as well. And that's made by, I'm trying to think, GF Models. So there you go. Below that I've got Mr. Kit Talbot Langer. And then another kit which I recently, I think I did an inbox review about, is the Mini Hobby Models T72B, which that tank crew will go nicely with. Below that I've got a Trumpeter Chally 2 Operation Telic, which was kindly donated to me by my brother Neil at Tankfest. And then just below that I've got the limited edition Edward Typhoon Mark 1B. So I think they're getting very hard to get hold of now. So let's pop them back there. And this might be a project for this year, which is the AZ model Hamden Mark 1. I've got an Edward interior detail set for this, for the sidewalls, etc. So that's going to be interesting to do. Then I've got a little storage set, if you remember I featured in my last stews back at the bench, which is going to be on my Panzer II. And then you've got the Airfix Club 148 Spitfire Mark 5C. Next to that you've got the reissued Vickers Vanguard Red Tail BEA. I love that scheme. And also I've got the Trumpeter Gannet AS Mark 1 4 and 1/72, which I'm going to convert into the old COD aircraft, carry on board delivery aircraft for Ark Royal's Air Wing. I've just got to source the aftermarket wing tanks for that. And this one was a ISM Secret Santa I got a few years ago. It's actually the limited edition Spitfire Mark 14 2-in-1, where you can do the bubble canopy version as well as the ordinary. And then below that, the Chattanooga Choo Choo P51 D5 Mustang, which they released last year. Next to that, I've got the Main Panther Alps D, and that is a beautiful kit. And I keep promising you guys I'm going to do an inbox review of that. I will soon. And below that is a kit that was basically kindly sent to me by Steve Mottram, which is the old venerable Tamiya Yak Panther late version. So yeah. And then below that, which I'm going to use at some stage, try and rebuild at some stage, is the Tacom release Tamiya Easy 8 Sherman. Now you can't get hold of this. If you can, it costs you a bloody fortune these days. As you well remember, I got shortchanged on the HVSS assembly construction of the suspension on it, so I'm going to see if I can get hold of the AFE Club's HVSS suspension on it to supplant it at some stage. And this is what's left over of the old Meng tracks. Workable track links I used on the 111A4. And one that I really treasure in this stash is this one, because this Dragon 3-in-1 is the original 6253 release with all the goodies, metal barrel, etc. Now you can actually build this kit as Michael Wittmann's Last Tiger, his command version. And believe it or not, the etched brass of it includes his Knight's Cross, which goes round his neck. How about that? And then below that, you've got the old venerable Tamiya Sturm Tiger, which I recently got. And then this was a Christmas present from my brother a few years back, which is the old Tamiya Königsberg Ting Tiger 2 Ardennes Offensive. As you remember, I was going to use that as my group entry into the 1944 group build, but because of certain reasons, that all went by the by. But I am going to get that built. And then obviously I've got the full tracks from the Tiger 1. So that's that. So that's the first part of my stash done. Right, moving round. Oh, I've got my old compressor. I can't remember what brand this was, but I did have one, and this was my first compressor, although my first compressor went bang bang puffy puffy after about 2 years. And Warren from Strike Eagle Models kindly donated this to me free of charge, and I'll tell you what, Warren, thank you, bro, because basically this thing's still going strong. I've had it 3-4 years now, so thanks, bud. I really appreciate that. Up here's the current Doctor Who calendar for this year, and a couple of figures, one of Tom and one of John Pertwee, who's my favourite Doctor, because he was my Doctor when I was a nipper. He's the earliest Doctor I can actually vaguely remember, so there you go. And then a couple of books, one I got at Smith's for about £6, which is this one here, and this one was actually bought to me as a birthday present from my dear friend Sue Davies. And Sue, I still haven't got around to reading that yet, darling, but I will. Okay. And then up here is a painting which my dad bought and my dear friend Alan Harrington actually framed for me. I did have a matching one, but unfortunately my clumsy housemate, when we were cleaning the room out, smashed the glass on it. So I'm going to have to get that reframed at some stage. And then beside that, actually I'll make my way around, get a closer look, is, if you recognise it and remember it, this was my entry into the Hawker Harrier 50th anniversary group build, which was hosted by Martin Lamont of British International Scale Modeller. My entry was the Sea Vixen of Sharkey Ward from the Falklands War, and this was the kinetic kit. The base I actually got from Hobbycraft. Was it Hobbycraft? Yeah, along with the foam base on here and the frame. Basically masked off the centre line, painted that on, and used some of the decals off the kit here for the deck markings. The ladder was an Edward aftermarket ladder. The figure, I can't remember the brand, but I actually painted Sharkey Ward's beard on it as though he's on the deck of Hermes. It was a pig of a kit to build, but I persevered, and the end result is stunning. I love this one. It's a particular favourite of mine. And if you notice, I've got an Edward detailed cockpit set in it as well, because I really went to town on this baby. So there you go. That's my heart meds there. I'm not interested in that. My vitamin pills. The heart meds I have to take now constantly every day, ever since I had my heart attack. Thankfully, I've got no need of ever feeling that I'm going to have a heart attack, because apparently I just passed my last check and I was all guns blazing. And this little cup, believe it or not, was part of my Christmas present from Brittany and her mum. They obviously know me so well, bless them, because I am quite a prolific Guinness drinker. No, it's good for you. So thank you, ladies. And then obviously I've got part of my DVD collection here. A lot of that has gone because I sold it off. It was just that I was running out of space, and to be honest, all they were doing was just collecting dust. And at some stage I'm still going to diminish it even more. So there you go. And there's more behind there as well. And then we've got part 2 of my Doctor Who collection, and if you notice, I've got a few of the former Doctor's sonic screwdrivers. I've got the 10ths, the 11ths and the 12ths. I've just got to get the 13ths. And obviously I've got the Big Finish audios of all of Paul McGann's adventures. Well, not all of them, about half of them. And there's many more, believe me, from Big Finish. And then down here we've got more Doctor Who DVDs and spin-offs. So there you go, Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood. And as you can see, they're still in this cellophane because I still haven't got around to watching them yet. I've just basically been starting from day one with William Hartnell, making my way through my collection. I'm currently at Paul McGann now, and that's, 3 years down the road. That shows you how big my collection is. And there's more behind there, believe me. I'm not kidding you. So there you go, and it's right up to Jodie, and there's a few spin-offs there with River Song. So there you go. And that's my PC. Done me well, an old Dell, although she is getting a bit slow now, bless her. So I think it's getting to the stage where I need a new PC, guys. And as you can see, I'm a member of the IPMS, International Plastic Modelers Society. This is their biannual magazine. And this issue is mainly about Telford, as you can see here, who the winners were. There's the club secretary, who I've actually met at the show many a time. He's the guy in the yellow polo shirt. Some superb builds in here. I mean, this is all about the setup of the show, which is run by them. Some of the stands and club stands, as it were. And obviously you've got the 3-minute silence on Remembrance Sunday, which they always mark in the gallery. And these are just some of the builds that were on show. Look at those. Awesome. It really does inspire you when you see this stuff. So there you go. And this was a real show winner, which was Senior Champion Best of Show, which was the old Focke-Wulf Condor airliner, which was actually Hitler's personal aircraft. He's done an absolute diamond job of it, including the detail on the engine. Beautifully done. These are some of the other show winners as well, which were in the show display competition area. Lovely Atlantique, nice little JP, lovely Spook or Phantom. I love this Shackleton. And this BF 109E, G, or is it G or F? I think it's Marseille's aircraft, I'm not sure. This was beautifully done as well. Little short SC1, which I think was a scratch build or a back form. And that is a lovely Sukhoi Su-37, beautifully done. Yeah, many show winners there, loads of armour, etc. And this is a particular favourite of mine, of the two Lightnings on QRA stand at Binbrook. So beautifully done. And this Kingfisher, look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So there you go. And also I get me annual Doctor Who monthly magazine as well. This one shows you how busy I've been over Christmas. I've still got the cellophane on it. I haven't even opened it yet. Crazy, isn't it? So there you go. Right, next up is a few more videos, DVDs, sorry, and this is a series called Expert Modelcraft. I heartily recommend you get hold of them. You can really learn a lot from these because they're actually done by individual modelers and hosted by the editor of a particular book which I've got in my reference section, which you'll see in a minute. So I've got loads of modelling videos. Series Secret War, if you remember, was hosted by William Woolard in the 70s. A couple of Flory Models DVDs. A few on the Farnborough Air Show and Farnborough itself. A few sort of training films from the Royal Air Force. Series Warship, I don't know if you remember that back in the 70s. I got Series 1 and 2. Another modelling video, Royal Air Force films, BEA films, that's British European Air Force, I've got one on the Trident, etc, etc, etc. So there you go. Alright, now coming round, a little bit of reading material there because I'm a bit of a bookworm again. That to read, those two of them to read, because basically I've got a little bit of family connection with that because my late grandfather on my father's side fought these two battles because he was out in the Western Front, and as I say, he was gassed twice, so yeah, not very pleasant. And then there's a few books here which were donated by my cousin Paul Avery, so thanks Paul, appreciate that mate. And a few other books, plenty of reading material here. Obviously I'm a big Hans Zimmer fan, Love his soundtracks and some of the films. Last Samurai is a particular favourite of mine. This is a good little play, although this is in the cassette form, although I do believe you can get it on CD now. Bomber by Len Day, and it's actually narrated by Tom Baker. It's really, really good. And then this one is my file for all my decals and aftermarket Edward etch brass sets, which if I bring it down you can see. So I'll pop it on the bed. It does come in handy. I got this file actually from work because it was no longer going to be used, and my workmate Harjit said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So that's what it's come in handy for. So I keep all my aftermarket decals in here. This is one for the old Speedjack scheme of the Trident, made by a company called 26 Decals, because they do a lot of retro airliner schemes. To check them out, and I've got the BOAC set for my Jumbo. I do love this scheme. It just looks so sleek and smart. It really does. That's another one of mine I'm going to do for future projects. And I've got loads of model decal, extra decal, because I've got the COD scheme on that one for the Gannet. And I think it's a Sky model set for all the Halifaxes. And they've got the Friday the 13th, which is a particular favourite of mine. So there you go. And more extra decal sets. Anything that's left over from the last builds I'll keep in here from the Sea Harrier kinetic kit. We've got these. They come in handy for future projects. And then obviously I've got aftermarket decals. I've got Zimmerit for tanks from Tamiya. Little uniform marking set. Mind you, I must admit they didn't bed down well last time I used them. Awful. I've got the Marlborough McLaren set for the M26 McLaren of James Hunt's. A little aftermarket set here for the old Dakota from Edward. And this book is awesome. I've got some aftermarket sets for Tigers as well. So these are what left over from my Dragon kit from the Thomas Amsel Gruber build. And then I've got some Tech Mold ones there as well. More leftover decals from a Hanamag. Etc. So I've got Airwave sets in here as well. So if you get one of these files with these little inserts, this is what it could come in handy for, because I know Paul actually uses it for his aftermarket decals as well, for his car builds. So saw this, thought, yeah, I'm going to grab it, and it's coming really, really handy. It's a good space saver too. So there you go. What else? We're going to run through what I've got on my bookshelf as too. So let's go and do that. I'm going to put that back where it belongs. So excuse me, I'm a bit cack-handed, but hey. Yeah, and as I say, I've got two Haynes manuals for the Vulcan, and the one I recently sort of featured in my Stews Back on the Bench, which is the Blackburn Buccaneer. So they'll come in handy. That's the current book I'm reading, Tigers in the Mud, with Otto. This is actually Otto Karas' own personal accounts. Brilliant read. And I got this at the old Bental store when they were closing it down for about a £5, I think. Got a little game guide here for Great Escape from one of my old Xbox games. And I've got a few weathering magazines here as well. This one was kindly given to me by my brother. And I'm a bit of a classical music fan too, because to be honest with you, when I want to sit and chill and relax, there's nothing more calming than listening to a bit of classical music, to be honest with you. And I've become a big fan of it ever since I got into Inspector Morse some years ago. So, hey, sure sign I'm getting old. Anyway, this book is one of 3 that I've actually got personally signed by the author, Margaret Thatcher's. Good book this was her first book, her autobiography. Remarkable lady. She was the first female Prime Minister, as you all know, and this is actually her genuine signature. So that is something to worth hold on to, because it's worth a fortune now, because unfortunately, bless her, she's no longer with us. And this gentleman either. This was about the Legless Air Race. Douglas Bader is one of my favourite air races, and if anybody's seen Reach for the Sky film, watch it. It tells you about his personal story. That was actually written by Paul Brickell, and this is actually by one of his fellow airmen, Laddie Lucas, who was in his squadron during the Battle of Britain, and he was a lifelong friend of Douglas's. It's actually signed by Douglas himself, which was given to my father, and he's written to my dad, to an aircraft buff, Douglas Bader. So yeah, that I treasure too, and it is a genuine signature of the man himself. And obviously my Doctor Who connection again. I've got Tom Baker's first autobiography, and this was the first edition as well, and I got it signed by Tom too, although I haven't actually met him yet, bless him, because I was working that day and I reserved it to get signed. And that was back in 1997. So there you go. And I've got a few more. Phantom Leader, which I'm to read. American Sniper, which is one of my favourite films. This is about a British sniper, which I picked up at Tesco's for £4. And this series of books is very handy as well. It's actually made by a company called Stackpole Books. It's all about the German side of the war. You've got Panzer Races 2 and 3, about all the Panzer Races during the Second World War, how the Panzer Legions were organised, decision at Ukraine, 2 on Michael Whitman, and obviously you've got the Knights Cross Panzers as well, aces. And I'm a big Al Pacino fan, as you can see here and here. So there you go. And also a big Star Wars and Inspector Morse fan. And I've got a few DVDs here. 2 on Art Royal. The latter, which was the last conventional aircraft carrier until 78, and she was scrapped in 1980, sadly. And this is the series, BBC series Sailor, which was filmed in the mid-70s, I think around about 1976. And then you've got the last series that was on the other last Art Royal. And being a Trekkie fan, I'm about 3/4 of the way through Series 3 of Enterprise. So there you go. And I'm a Miami Vice fan. These are all my reference books. You've got the AK Book of Dioramas, FAQ 2, Star Wars books, which are come in handy for reference and weathering. This I got at Tank Fest. This is one on the Super King Tiger, which I got the first Telford I bought. FAQ on aircraft. Eagle has landed. Oh, it's at the Eagle has landed, which is all German dioramas. 3 guidebooks from Airfix, various other resources, etc. And as I mentioned, those videos, this is actually written by Richard Windrow. And he's the host on those videos I just mentioned, and it's got a host of information on how to build authentic dioramas, so worth looking out for. I think you can still get hold of these. I think they're still in print. I'm trying to get the damn thing back now. It's not easy when you're doing it with one hand. I've got a few Osprey books as well, and all the Tank Art series. I got those at the first Telford I went to too. Right, moving on. Another thing you didn't know, I'm a bit of an artist, so I've got all my artwork in here as well, which I might do in another video another time. So there you go. Then you got more Star Trek videos, DVDs. I've got The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, and the original series, films, and the last 3 motion pictures. Right, getting on to modelling. All my thinners and fillers are up here. Paint cleaners, primers, etc. All my other products, weathering products, are here. This stuff is brilliant for super glue and acrylite glue, and I heartily recommend it. It's Bob Smith's Industries glue. It's brilliant stuff. And then I've got Microset, Microsol, Microclear, Zapagap, Canopy glue, which is brilliant. And the pigment fix I use Aptalone 502. Ultimate Primer, which is actually in effect Res under license. I've got all the three Tamiya glues. They're brilliant. Axle panel liners, which I use for weathering. Paint brushes are in this little paint stand here, which you see. White Spirit, Ultimate spare sanders there. Got some Vaseline, which I use for keeping the brushes subtle. And this stuff is brilliant for matte varnish. It's Winsor & Newton's Galeria matte varnish. It just beds down beautifully. All you need to thin it is just tap water, ordinary tap water. Okay, and these cutters are brilliant too, and they're made by, hang on, let me see, I'm trying to get it into focus. The Army Painter, they're called. This one is a nice little storage unit I recently got for all my paint brushes, pipe cleaners for when I'm cleaning my airbrush out. I've got my pin vise in there, cocktail sticks at the back, ultimate sanders, and cotton wool buds for when I'm doing any washes. Brilliant. Or cleaning my airbrush out. Etch brass benders by Mastercraft, and they're brilliant. These are all my essential tools that I use when I'm doing my builds, and as you can see, I've got old ice cream tubs which will keep all my paints and accessories all in, and there's some of my clamps as well. So there you go, and that's with my pigments. Everything's labelled up and easy in that hand. So there you go. This little tin I've actually got, hang on if I can get it open, all my aftermarket barrels, aerials, etc. in there. So no, it's always handy worth holding on to stuff when you get hold of it. These are my gloves which I use when I'm airbrushing. As I say, I've got my current Panzer II project on the go. This is my USS Dallas currently on the go. And I've scratch built the periscopes out of cocktail sticks, believe it or not. More cotton wool buds, more reference stuff at the back with tigers, and this magazine is the magazine I get every month, which is, if I get it over here, Military Model Craft International. Brilliant magazine, inbox reviews, what's coming out, excuse the noise in the background, advertisements for aftermarket on variants kits. This I might look into. Sorry, got my big thumb in the way there. This is one of a review on our Rifefield's T34 D31 22mm gun. So there you go. A brilliant magazine. It just tells you what's coming out, build reviews, techniques, vehicle reviews, etc. It's an essential magazine if you're an armour builder. It really is. So heartily recommend that. And it's the only model magazine I get now. Because at one time I was getting out 3 or 4, which is getting a bit impossible. Oh, come on, go back. Oh, it's alright, I'll leave it. I'll put it back later. Leave it on the sofa. So there you go. Vallejo paints, which I'm yet to use, which I'm mentioning my stews back on the bench. These are my figures for my Panzer II. And as I say, I've been using this stuff to just get some tonal variation, which is Gain Colour Wash. Brilliant stuff, it really is. A few more Tamiya paints, which I'm using on my figures. I use that to just keep my water in. A few other tools in the corner here, which may come in handy, and scale rules, etc. I've got my paintbrush cleaner and holder. For my airbrushes, airbrush holder. And obviously I've got my 2 airbrushes which I've got at the moment, which is the Hunter and Steenbeck Ultra, which I use my clear coats, and then obviously the one next to that is my real workhorse, which is the Ultimate Apex airbrush. Brilliant airbrush. I really heartily recommend you get hold of one of them, guys. Get one of them, you never turn back. And then obviously I've got my magnifier there, which I use for fine detail work with a little light, and my lenses are kept just over here. One thing I did forget is this stuff. Mig's acrylic mud, and then I use that on the base for my Leopard 1A4, if you remember. Brilliant stuff, and they do quite a wide range of ground effect materials. And then I've got my little paint mixer, which is by Master Tools. I've had that 4 years now, and it's still going strong. Handy little implement, I can tell you. What else? Yeah, turpenoid. This is odorless turpenoid. This I use for when I'm weathering, such as rust streaks, that sort of thing, or rain streaks.